I'm Adam, 30M, and my younger brother Luke, 28M, has hated me for as long as I can remember. If you're thinking it's jealousy, you'd be wrong. Luke was the golden child in our family, spoiled rotten by our mom, Helen. I was the quiet, nerdy kid who kept to himself, while Luke was loud, brash, and mom's favorite. Here's the story of how he tormented me, betrayed me in the worst way, and is now crawling back after our parents cut him off and left me their $2 million inheritance. Growing up, Mom doted on Luke. She'd cook his favorite meals, do his laundry, even make me help with his homework, saying it's what brothers do. But Luke never returned the favor. If I needed help, he'd laugh or ignore me. I was independent, maybe too accommodating, which might have enabled him. I liked studying, reading, and keeping things honest, no sugarcoating. Maybe that's why Mom saw me as cold, while Luke could do no wrong. He was Dad's mini-me, rough and charming, the family's pride. I didn't care much about being the favorite, but Luke's bullying changed everything. It started small. He'd mock my glasses, my height, I'm 5 feet 8 inches, he's 6 feet 1 inch, or my bookish habits. He'd sneak into my room, read my journal, and tattle to Mom about my private thoughts. I'd yell about my privacy, but Mom and Dad would chuckle, saying, "Boys will be boys." It got worse. Once, he hid gravel in my oatmeal, thankfully, I noticed before breaking a tooth. Another time, he nearly snapped my glasses. I'd tell Mom, but she'd brush it off, "He's just playing, Adam. Don't be so sensitive." Luke knew my insecurities and weaponized them. High school was brutal. Luke and I went to the same school, and I was already a target for bullies, called Four Eyes or Loser for my quiet nature. Luke didn't just stand by, he joined them. He'd egg them on, saying, "Hit the nerd, he's useless anyway." Once, during a fight over something trivial, he screamed, "Why don't you just kill yourself?" That hit hard. I was battling depression, and hearing my brother say that crushed me. I hid it, but it lingered. Mom scolded me for provoking him, while Dad was too busy working to notice. Things escalated when Luke tried to burn my hair with a lighter in sophomore year. I shoved him away, singed but okay. Mom called it a prank, but Dad finally stepped in. He grabbed Luke, furious, and said he'd call the police if it happened again. For the first time, Luke looked scared. Dad came to my room later, apologizing. He thought Luke was just immature, but now saw him as a bully. I poured out everything, Luke's taunts, the school bullying, all of it. Dad was stunned. He went to the principal, ensuring my bullies faced suspension threats. Then he signed me up for boxing classes at the local gym, saying, "You need to stand up for yourself, son." Boxing changed me. I was a scrawny nerd, but I threw myself into it, balancing study and training. My confidence grew, and my physique improved. One day, Luke stole $50 I'd saved from chores. I caught him biking off with his friends and demanded it back. He smirked, "Go cry to Dad, loser." Something snapped. I punched him square in the jaw. He fell, stunned, and I grabbed my money from his pocket. He wailed like a toddler. Mom ran out, scolding me for hurting her baby. She told Dad I needed discipline, but Dad asked for my side. I explained the theft. Luke claimed he needed it for a date. Dad shut him down, "You're lucky he didn't call the cops, Luke. Stealing's not a game." Luke threw a tantrum and locked himself in his room. After that, he kept his distance, realizing I wasn't his punching bag anymore. Luke still threw verbal jabs when our parents weren't around, calling me nerd or freak under his breath. He'd only talk to me through Mom, who'd beg me to understand him. I tried talking to her about a family sit-down, but she refused, saying she didn't want to meddle. By 18, I was done. I got a scholarship to my dream university and left, relieved to escape Luke's toxicity. College was freedom, new friends, great classes, no more walking on eggshells. I met Sarah, 29F, in my second year at a campus party. We hit it off, both from conservative families where kids before marriage were taboo. When she got pregnant in our final year, we married right after graduation in a small, joyful ceremony. I thought she was my forever. I valued monogamy, never straying despite attention from others. But Sarah cheated twice, once with a coworker for years, once with an ex during a family visit. I forgave her both times, not wanting our son, Ethan, to grow up in a broken home. We worked through it, and for 4 years, things seemed solid. I thought we'd made it. 3 months ago, Sarah dropped a bomb. She'd been sleeping with someone for years, and Ethan might not be mine. My world collapsed. Her cold, detached confession gutted me. When I pressed for the truth, she admitted it was Luke. They'd grown close when I introduced her to my family over Thanksgiving. Luke was unusually kind to her, and I was glad, hoping it'd ease family tension. Sarah tried to get us to bond, inviting Luke to movies or game nights. I noticed them playing video games together, but thought it was harmless. She later told me Luke confided in her about a breakup, flirted when I wasn't around, and one thing led to another. She felt guilty and left early for home that holiday. When she found out she was pregnant, she wasn't sure who the father was but chose me, knowing I was reliable. They kept sneaking around, using work trips as cover. I packed a bag, told Sarah I was done, and left. She begged me to stay, saying I should fight for her or think of Ethan. I reminded her he might not be mine. At my parents', I told them everything. Mom defended Luke at first, but I called him in front of them, keeping them silent. Luke denied it, then blamed Sarah when I said she confessed. He bragged he was the better brother. I revealed our parents were listening. Dad took the phone, calling Luke's actions a betrayal of family. He cut Luke off from college funds and support, saying, "You're no man if you hurt your brother like this." OUVE asked why I put up with Luke's behavior and why I kept my family at arm's length with Sarah early on. Here's the full picture of my toxic upbringing. Mom, Helen, worshipped Luke. He was her baby, her pride, while I was the responsible one expected to fend for myself. She'd buy Luke new sneakers or gadgets, while my sisters and I got thrift store clothes or shared toys. If Luke broke something, I got blamed for not guiding him. Once, when he was 7, he smashed a neighbor's window. Mom grounded me for not watching him. At 12, I started mowing lawns for extra cash. Luke demanded the same, so Mom took half my earnings to give him, even though he did no chores. I protested, but she said, "He's your brother, Adam. Share." Luke's bullying wasn't just pranks. He'd hide my books, knowing I loved studying, or spread rumors at school to humiliate me. Mom dismissed it as sibling rivalry. Dad was often at work, so he didn't see the worst. When I got into college, they threw Luke a bigger party for passing a single class. They skipped my high school graduation because Luke had a soccer game. Mom made a cake to celebrate me, but it had nuts, which I'm allergic to. My sisters, Emma and Lily, were my only support. At 16, I saved up for a used bike. Luke took it without asking, crashed it, and Mom made me apologize for upsetting him. That's when I started planning my escape. After college, I cut contact, ignoring Mom's calls and texts through my sisters. I only reconciled when Emma begged me to try for her wedding, wanting a whole family. I agreed but kept my guard up, which is why I didn't tell Sarah much about them at first. She knew I had family issues and didn't push, letting me open up on my terms. Thanks for the support and tough questions. Here's what's happened since my last post. After Sarah's confession, I demanded a paternity test. The results crushed me. Ethan is Luke's son. I felt like I'd lost everything, the son I'd raised, the life I'd built. Sarah pleaded for me to keep seeing Ethan, saying he shouldn't suffer. But every time I looked at him, I saw Luke's betrayal. I couldn't do it. I filed for divorce, and Sarah's lawyer pushed for alimony, citing my higher income. My lawyer used her affair with Luke to shut that down. The divorce finalized last month, and I moved into a small apartment. Living alone felt strange after marrying young, but my independent streak kicked in. I've got my space, my routine, and I'm starting to love the freedom. Dad followed through on cutting Luke off, no college funds, no allowance. Luke's been struggling, unable to pay tuition or rent. 2 weeks ago, he called me, voice shaky. He said Sarah's demanding child support, and he's jobless, scraping by. He begged me to talk to our parents, saying he's sorry and wants a fresh start. I laughed bitterly. You slept with my wife, Luke. You don't get to play victim. He argued Sarah seduced him, but I reminded him he kept it going for years. He's her problem now, not mine. He yelled I was heartless, but I hung up, feeling a strange relief. For once, Luke's facing consequences, and I'm not cleaning up his mess. Mom's been quiet, torn between guilt and missing Luke. Dad's firm, no contact with Luke, period. My sisters, Emma and Lily, check on me, proud I stood up for myself. I'm focusing on work and healing, but Luke's call stirred up old wounds. Should I push my parents to hear him out, or keep him out of my life? The drama keeps coming. Thanks for the advice, it's helped me stay grounded. I found out Mom told Luke about Dad changing his will to leave me everything, $2 million in assets, retirement funds, and insurance, with Luke getting $1 to avoid legal fights. Only condition, if Dad passes first, Mom can live in their house, though it'll be in my name. I'm fine with that, I'd care for her regardless. Luke's call last update was a desperate attempt to worm back in after Mom spilled the news. I confronted Mom at their house with Dad present. She broke down, sobbing that I punished Luke enough and he's learned his lesson. She begged me to forgive him, saying he's struggling without their support. I reminded her he slept with my wife and never apologized. Dad stepped in, voice like steel. Helen, if you think what Luke did is forgivable, I can't stay married to you. He betrayed Adam and this family. Mom froze, tears stopping. Dad said if she contacts Luke behind our backs, she's out of the house. I've never seen him so resolute. Mom nodded, promising to respect his decision, but I could see her heart breaking. Luke hasn't called since I shut him down. I heard from Emma he's been begging relatives for cash, but no one's helping. I'm sticking to no contact with him. Dad and I are closer than ever, he's been calling to check in, even took me fishing last weekend. Mom's civil but distant, clearly hurting over Luke. I'm focusing on my job and therapy, trying to rebuild. Any thoughts on handling Mom's guilt trips if she tries again? It's been 5 months since my last update, and things are looking up. Thanks for sticking with my story. My relationship with my parents has strengthened. Dad and I hang out every weekend, golfing, grabbing coffee, like old friends. He's opened up about his regrets over not stepping in sooner with Luke's behavior. Mom's still grieving Luke's absence but hasn't contacted him, respecting Dad's ultimatum. She's warmer with me now, even cooked my favorite meal last week, no allergens this time. We don't talk about Luke, it's an unspoken rule, and it keeps the peace. I heard from my cousin that Luke dropped out of college after failing to pay tuition. He's living with Sarah, working part-time as a mechanic. They're raising Ethan together, which I guess is good for the kid. Sarah's still pushing for child support, but Luke's broke. I feel a twinge of pity, but it fades when I remember his betrayal. He hasn't reached out, and I'm glad. I don't need his apologies, they'd feel hollow anyway. Work's going great, I got a promotion 3 months ago, boosting my salary. I'm still in therapy, unpacking the pain of losing Ethan and Sarah's betrayal. It's helping me process, but I'm not ready to date. I need time to trust again. My sisters keep me grounded, and I'm planning a trip with Emma next month to clear my head. Life feels lighter, like I'm finally free from Luke's shadow. I'll update if anything big happens, but for now, I'm focusing on me. Thanks for the support and tough questions. Here's what you've been asking. Why no contact with Ethan? It's not about him, he's just a kid. But I was lied to, believing he was mine, only to find out he's Luke's. Seeing him brings back the betrayal, and Sarah would use it to creep back into my life. I need space to heal, maybe forever. Call it selfish, but it's self-preservation. Did Mom read the comments? Emma says mom saw some and got mad, saying strangers don't know our family. She's still processing Luke's disownment but hasn't reached out to him. I'm done trying to fix her perspective. Will Luke try again? Probably. He's desperate, but I'm not budging. He made his choices, sleeping with Sarah, never apologizing. My parents and I are solid, and I'm moving forward. Thanks for the advice and well wishes.